Welcome to the Office of Student Services Media Library, brought to you by your host, Mr. Pulliam.
Hey there, Payne Valley, and welcome back to another presentation from the Office of Student Services Media Library. With me, your host, Mr. Pulliam. Today we're going to talk about what it means to become an upstander. Here at Payne Valley, we want to be positive and encouraging, and that means we want to be upstanders in our school versus bystanders. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. So first off, we're going to watch this introduction video. It's a little long, about 4 to 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and play it now, and then we can go from there. Okay? Here we go.
When you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you feel so tired but you can't sleep, stuck in rivers, and the tears come streaming down your face, when you lose something you can't replace, when you love someone but it goes to waste, could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. See a stream down your face. I promise you I will learn from your mistakes. See a stream down your face, and lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Now we're going to talk about what does it mean to be an upstander. So when you're being an upstander, it means you're taking a risk. It means you're standing up to a bully or someone who's being mean to someone else. You show courage when you stand up to a bully or someone who's being mean, but a lot of us are afraid of what that risk would mean for our popularity, for our own personal lives. We're afraid of what standing up to a bully might mean because we're afraid of the repercussions. But honestly, it's better to be an upstander than a bystander. So an upstander is someone who stands up for something, who does something that they're not comfortable with and takes a risk. But a bystander is someone who just stands by and watches things happen and doesn't actively try to make change in it. Here at Payne Valley Middle School, we want to be a community that encourages change and growth. And in order to do that, we have to be a community of upstanders, not a community of bystanders. So here we go. So there are 4 different areas of risk that you could take in order to be an upstander. So the first one is not taking any risk and doing nothing. An example of this would be that you would join the bully by laughing or agreeing with them. So let's say someone's picking on Miss Brooks, and I just join in on the picking instead of standing up for her. If I join the bully who's picking on Miss Brooks and laugh and agree with them, I'm doing nothing and I'm taking no risk. And that is a selfish decision, okay? That is a selfish, cowardice decision, okay? It takes no courage to join a bully. It takes all kinds of courage to stand up to one. So the next type of risk is low risk. So when you have a low risk of engagement, you look away from what the bully's doing and you don't join the bully, but you also don't intervene in stopping him. You just kind of ignore it and pretend like it's not happening. Next is medium risk. So when it comes to medium risk, you change the subject of what the bully's doing, you walk away, and you encourage others to walk away too, but you don't say anything to the bully directly about his or her actions. So when it comes to medium risk, it's really just getting the attention away from what the bully's doing, but not confronting the bully about how he or she is acting. And then finally is high risk. So when it comes to high risk, that is when you stand up, you speak out, and you get help, if needed, to stop the bullying, to stop the peer pressure, to stop someone being mean to someone else, or to stop someone doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. This is when you take a high risk and become an upstander. You're not an upstander until you take a high risk and stand up and speak out against what you know is wrong. Here at Payne Valley, we want to build people up, and Mr. Holbert has talked a lot about credits and debits. So I want you guys to remember, by being an upstander and taking a high risk, you're creating credit in the bank. You're building things up, and the teachers notice who stands up for their friends. The teachers notice who stands up for themselves and who stands up for others. I know I'm especially noticeable. I keep a close eye on students who I think are struggling, students who I think don't have a lot of friends. And I notice which students go and befriend those students, because I think it's important for everyone to have a friend and everyone to feel like they're cared for and everyone to know that they have someone on their side, that they're not alone in this world. And middle school is really hard for that, guys. Like, you want to be popular, you want to be cool, you want to be well liked, and that's all really awesome. But at the end of the day, you're going to be remembered more for being a good friend, for standing up for someone who can't stand up for themselves or doesn't know how to stand up for themselves, and just being a good citizen and community member here at Payne Valley Middle School. So now I want you guys to take some time and discuss in small groups just the following questions, okay? At this time, I'm going to ask your teacher to pause the video, and I want you guys as a whole class to go over these discussion questions, and then when you're done, you can start the video back over. Thank you. Okay, now hopefully you've done the discussion questions and you're ready to move on to discussion part 2. So here on this one, I want you to split up into individual groups, or you can stay together as a whole class depending on how much time you have, how much time your teacher wants to invest. And I want you to create a chart like the one below, either on the board or in small groups with an individual piece of paper. And I want you to create a 4-part chart where it says no risk, low risk, medium risk, and high risk. And then I want you to create possible responses that you would have in a bullying situation with each risk. So the prompt is create a chart with possible responses at each risk level to what you would do if you saw an 8th grader picking on a 7th grader for how he or she looks. Okay? So the prompt is respond to an 8th grader who's picking on a 7th grader for how he or she looks. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoy this discussion activity, and I thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Office of Student Services Media Library, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you for watching another digital lesson from the Office of Student Services Media Library. And don't forget, it's a great day to be a Paint Valley Bearcat.